Everybody, it's Jennifer, and I'm really excited for my guest this week because it happens to be somebody I know very well. This is Angie Chavez. She is the manager of the Katy office for Better Homes and Gardens. Hi, Angie.
Hello.
And I wanted to have you here today, not just as a manager, to talk as a manager, but I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about you before you got into management, because for people who don't know, you were an agent for how many years?
5.5.
Oh my gosh, you did that much in 5.5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I feel like a loser now that it's been 10
Stop
years.
it.
No, and not like you weren't just an agent. I mean, you were a producer. You were like a heavy hitter, like one of the top producers in the whole company. So how do you go from getting into real estate to in 5.5 years doing that much business? What were some of the things you think that made you successful?
Well, I think the motivation is the big thing, right? You know, why did I decide to go into real estate? And I think for me, you know, working in corporate America for so many years, I kind of got to the point where I knew that I had a good work ethic. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to go into something to where the more I put into it, the more I get out of it. And so real estate was just that.
No ceiling. There's nobody to tell you how much money you can make, or you don't have to wait on a promotion.
It wasn't a regular paycheck. It's whatever I put in is what I'm going to get out, and that's kind of how I looked at it. So I think the second piece of that is, you know, when you are looking to be successful in real estate, you have to pick the right partner, right? So I did a lot of research. I went on a lot of interviews and talked to a lot of brokers, and I also did a lot of research online, and I picked the one that I thought was going to support me the best based off of what I wanted to do, and that was be successful and make money. Mm-hmm. And so that was the beginning of it. And then, you know, I also know, again, a lot of this is coming from corporate America too, but you got to have a plan together, mm-hmm. right? So I knew I needed to make X number of dollars. And I learned really early in the real estate world that there's no real estate fairy that just drops business in my lap.
The hard lesson to learn.
Yeah, I know. It was very disappointing when I learned that.
Yeah.
But I had to put a plan together. So, and I know, you know, when you put a plan together, then you need to come up with action steps, right? What are the things that I'm going to do as a real estate agent that's going to make me money? And then I also learned that, you know, sitting and looking at email is not a good thing to do, that actually should be scheduled throughout the day. And then I learned that real estate is 100% relationships. Mm-hmm. You know, I was always talking to top producers. I always like to talk to top producers as a new agent, right? Mm-hmm. I was like a sponge. I wanted to learn everything. And, you know, I always consistently heard the same thing, that you know, there really isn't a secret sauce out there, right? Everyone's always looking for that secret sauce. You know, what can I do different to make all this money? But so for me, it was grassroots was really easy for me because I do believe that some of the best real estate agents are the ones with very giving hearts. Mm-hmm. And people like to work with people that like to give back. Mm-hmm. So, you know, my family is all military, and so military was my niche. That was my grassroots, the individuals I work with in the community. Mm-hmm. So I did a lot of that. I also connected with every single person I knew, because when you give up a salary job mm-hmm. and you turn in a company car and you're a 2-income family, you have to be successful. You don't have a choice, right? Mm-hmm. So I got on my phone, and, you know, I'm a person that likes to pick the phone up and talk. So I got on my phone, I started calling people and just saying, hey, you know, I don't know if you realize, but, you know, I just got my license. I'm super excited. You know, if you know anybody, I mean, it was just, I asked.
Yeah.
I just asked because I had to make money. So I got on the phone with everyone. The other thing is too, I made connections as far as outside of the company with groups, right? So, so because I worked so many hours in my previous career, right? It was dark when I got up and drove to work, and it was dark when I drove home. I really wasn't too involved in my community. So, but I did get involved. I learned how to play bongo, so that was crazy awesome. So I didn't realize how much fun that could be,
Such
right?
hard work, right?
Oh yeah. So I did a lot of that. I put together. I started a new group. It was called the Bridgeland Business Group. And what I did was I got on Facebook and said I was putting this new group together. And if you are an individual business owner, you know, come to my house, you know, this Friday at 7 o'clock. I'll have appetizers and drinks, and we're going to put a committee together that surrounds ourselves around neighbors working with neighbors, right? So that was the very first piece of me starting to farm my neighborhood. That was a big part of it. So we also, I was part of putting the veterans group together for Bridgeland also. So I got very involved in my community. The next thing that I learned that was going to be really important to my success was when you start to kind of get busy, you stop doing all of the important things that you need to do, what Tony Nelson calls the green stuff, right? So I stopped doing the prospecting and the phone calls and the face-to-face meetings, and started lagging on some events and things like that. And that's when you start getting on this roller coaster, right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, great, I have this
So
great month.
busy. Oh, crap, I have nothing.
Exactly. So I had to figure out a way to continue to do those things that are going to make me money, that's going to put my business more level. And I determined that time blocking and putting a specific schedule together on a daily basis was how I was going to do it. And I had
actually had
this
that written down as one of my questions for you, because I love a routine. I'm a good routine person, and I know I've heard you talk about that before.
Yes.
When you came out of a 9-to-5 job, you
Right.
didn't go, oh great, I'm my own boss, I can work from home, I like, you know, I'll make my own hours. You went into the office every morning, right?
Every single day I got up, I got dressed, and I took my crazy hair down, and I put my makeup on, and I went into the office.
Like a real job.
Yes, you have to treat it like a real job, because I'm going to tell you, you know, the majority of people, even if they think I'm good at working from home, you're really not. I mean, that's just the cold, hard truth. There's too many things around us to distract us. I think that even if you get up and come in first thing in the morning, right? But if you are a great person, you know, you're going to get dressed and you're going to walk into your office at your house. But it kind of just, it gets you focused for the day. I also learned that very quickly that once you start to get really busy, that, you know, family starts to fall to the side a little bit. I also learned that you stop doing things for yourself. So, you know, having a really powerful morning is really important. So that was part of me putting my schedule together. So I decided that, you know, I'm not going to sleep till 8 o'clock. I'm going to get up at a reasonable time, and I'm going to do something for me. I spent, you know, about 30 minutes a day doing something educational, even if it's watching YouTube. Watching Jennifer Wauhob videos are really fun.
Awesome. She's great.
Or podcasts. Like, I am a podcast junkie.
Me too.
Before I even pull out of my driveway in the morning, I'm going to turn on a podcast, and instead of like listening to AC/DC, which also motivates me, I'm going to listen to a podcast to kind of get me going. And then I just laid out my action items. I'm sorry about that. I have it turned off. It's an agent. I laid out my action items that I was going to take care of every single day. I always did open houses on the weekend without fail. I always tried to do 2, and I would do those in one day. So I would do a 12 to 2 and a 3 to 5. That way I would have another day to take clients out, or, you know, even if I wanted to do some family stuff. And then that was really big. I also put into my schedule that I was going to meet face to face, and we're able to do that now in the right way. But I would meet face to face once a week with someone that I knew. So I started with my Coca-Cola family, right? People that I work with at Coke. I have a lot of connections.
Let's go. I went and got coffee with a past client.
Coffee, lunch, a drink after work, whatever that was. But I met face to face, and that was every single Wednesday. That's what I did every Wednesday. Yeah. And then Mondays was my follow-up for my open houses. And then I told myself that I was going to reach out to at least 5 people per day. That's going to be the hardest thing, I think, for agents, right? Is making yourself do that.
Right.
And I'm not talking about, a text all the time. I'm talking about you're going to have to pick the phone up every once in a while. And I am a believer in handwritten notes. I know it sounds very old school, but I tell a story that even my 23-year-old daughter got a handwritten note, a happy birthday card from her insurance agent, and she was in heaven.
Yeah.
She was in heaven. She thought that was the coolest thing. She even picked up the phone and said, "Mom, our insurance guy sent me a birthday card." And so she was super excited about that. So, I mean, I'm talking a lot, but I think the biggest thing for that is just put a schedule together, because if you don't, you're going to wake up every single morning just doing all of the red stuff, the stuff that gets in the way of doing the real things that are really going to grow your business. And make relationships. If you're brand new to the area and you don't have friends, go make friends, right? Go make friends. Go start getting involved in community groups. Those of you that have kids, I used my grandkids because my children were grown. So I went to every baseball game. I went to the tumbling classes. And when I went, I didn't just sit there. I actually talked to people, right? With my open houses.
Your name badge on or something, so they.
Oh, I made so many T-shirts that talked about I was a realtor. And they're fun and they're a conversation piece. So I got on Etsy all the time. Like I have like drawers of just fun stuff like that I used to wear because it made it a little bit more, organic. And I would ask people, "Hey, so what do you do?" Right? Because if you ask someone that question, I'm going to say most of the time they're going to come back and ask you the same question, right? Ask you what you do for a living, right? And and just be positive, right? Just be a good person. I try to tell people all the time that quit worrying about the end result, right? And it's hard to do that, but I do firmly believe if you put a schedule together for yourself and you follow that schedule the best way possible, right? That and you're a good person, and when you're working with your clients, you are taking care of them, you're providing that superior customer service. That good things will come back to you, right? And as an agent, you have to also quit worrying about bothering people, right? I've heard so many times, "Oh, well, I don't want to call them and ask them for that because I feel like a telemarketer," right? But it's not like that. You have a service to provide someone, and it's an important service because as a real estate agent, you are helping people with some of the largest financial decisions of their lives. And, so you have to believe in your mind that this is something good that you're doing, not that you're a telemarketer calling and bugging them.
Exactly. I'm like you, I listen to podcasts all the time. I'm always watching trainings and things. Yes. And one of the things I've noticed, a lot of what I've been listening to has been talking about, especially since COVID, is getting back to the one-on-one connections. It's great to run a Facebook ad, it's great to market, it's great to put your face in the shopping cart, but you will get the most return from shooting somebody a Facebook message, from picking up the phone, from going to coffee with somebody, like the one-on-one connections. And I think especially right now, because that's what we've missed that for the last 6 months.
People are starving to get out in front of people. And you brought up Facebook too, or even Facebook Messenger, that's also another great way to connect. And we just talked about this on Tuesday is, in order to make sure that you're seen, right, you can't just go through and like a bunch of stuff.
Exactly.
You have to comment because people always see, you might not always look to see who liked your post, but you're always going to see if someone makes a comment about your post. Add a little cute emoji in there. That's going to make you stand out. And they're going to remember you for that.
Absolutely. And I just hope everybody heard what you said about getting involved, because even as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about the last year, there are multiple organizations that I've joined because it was something that I wanted to do. It was a common interest, a shared interest, and then I got business out of it. Not because I went into it looking for business, but because, like you said, people get to know you, and then they like and trust you.
That's right, Jennifer. And you got to make sure it's something you're passionate about.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, they can sense if you're just there for business.
They can.
Yeah,
exactly.
Nobody likes that. Okay,
Exactly.
so you were a huge producer and then you switched over and became a manager. And I always say it's kind of like when you're a player on the field and then you're a coach. You know, the coach is like, they get to see everything that's going on. You know, that's why you have them there, because as a player, you can only see what's going on right in front of you. So
Right.
now that you're up here and you're looking down at all of us agents running around like little ants,
Yep.
what have you seen over the last couple of years? There's got to be things that you've been like, yep, like I see agents making this mistake over and over, or yep, every time an agent does this, it works. What are some of the things that you've noticed since you've gone into management?
Yeah, well, one of the easiest things to see is, you know, because I love the one-on-one coaching piece of this job, right? Like I love seeing the agents be successful because it's exciting. But one of the biggest things, especially during a one-on-one coaching, if an agent comes in and says, you know, I don't know what's going on. I'm working really hard and I'm not getting any business. And I'm like, okay, I said, let's talk about that for a minute. So I get out a piece of paper and I give them a pen and I put it in front of them. And I said, okay, write down for me what you've been doing in your business. Normally it's about 3 things. Because it's because we feel like we're doing so much, right? It's because we're spending so much time looking at all of the emails we get, and then we get on social media and we get stuck for like 2 hours. And it's like, oh, well, I'm doing my social media. You know, so we're spending a lot of time doing things that aren't really important. So it comes down to that plan, that time blocking again, right? And I think if most of us ask ourselves that question, I mean, even me today, I have to reel myself in all the time is, you know, am I following my plan? And if your plan's not working, that means you need to adjust it, right? And it's never going to be exactly the same every single day. I think, you know, what we talked about earlier too, you know, if I haven't seen them come into because our office is open. And, you know, the way I look at it is if you're a full-time real estate agent, right, a couple of things need to happen. That means you're going to put at least 40 hours a week into your business. If you're not working 40 hours a week in real estate, you're not full-time. And that also includes when, like I talked about before, if you go to your child's baseball game, you know, you're still working because you're connecting with people. So you're going to include that. So it's spending the amount of time in real estate that you need to spend. You know, when I don't see, you know, people that come in that I never see them in the office.
Yeah.
I don't even see them on social media. They're not even posting anything about, you know, real estate at all, because real estate doesn't have to be in your face. That's the great thing. Yeah. You know, you can take a picture of your name badge and hashtag love my job. You can say, you know, take a picture of you, you know, next to a house that you're showing and say, you know, out showing clients today, you know, best part of my job, you know, hashtag making things happen. And, you know, just very organic posts to kind of remind people, hey, I'm in the business, right? You're not that secret agent.
People are interested in that kind of stuff. The whole reason HGTV exists is because people think it's interesting. So it might be boring to you, but to them, it's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So all of the fun stuff like that. So I think the biggest thing is just, you know, where they're not really working in their business, where they're really just not doing those things. They're not, you know, making the connections. They're, you know, I've had people say, well, I don't like talking to people. Well,
if I'm being totally honest, I don't.
You might want to really look at your career.
It doesn't come naturally to me, but I like helping people. So that's how I have to look at it. Is like, I do like helping people. In order to help them, I'm going to have to talk to them first. You have to come out of your shell a little bit. So, so I think it's just getting that routine together, and you know, and if you're having trouble doing that, putting it together yourself, I'm going to tell you, I mean, you know, get in touch with your manager, you know, or you know, one of the many great things that I've found about being here is that agents really do like to help agents, right? We really help each other out, right? And
agents also like to, give their opinion. So if you ask them, well, what do you think I should do? I'm sure they're going to give you some
You're going to get an answer. That's
You're going to get an answer, right? So putting that schedule together, I think, is probably the biggest thing. Not getting up and getting dressed and going to work every day. Being afraid to talk to people, right? I had someone that says, oh, well, I don't have any business cards right now. That was why they couldn't get out and do things. And I'm like, okay, I said, that's where I showed them that under my favorites in my phone is my business card.
Yep.
I don't even carry business cards anymore because I'll be honest, if someone gives me a business card, most likely it's probably not end up where it needs to be, or I'm not going to be able to find it. If I text it, right, then they're going to have it electronically.
And in order to text it, they have to give you
their phone number.
So
that's
now
right.
You've got their contact information too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Jennifer,
I 100% agree. And I think I notice when people come from a business background, I was a teacher. Teachers, like, we live by the bell, it's like, you do this at this time, you do this at this time.
You are on a schedule.
Yeah, and I do myself. I will say I'm one of the rare ones, I get more work done at home because I get too distracted in the office.
Right.
But I do. I am in my office.
You're in your home office.
8:30 every morning, and I'm sitting down and I got my list. So I highly encourage agents to go in because when I would go in as a newer agent, I learned so much just from listening to what other agents were saying on the phone with their clients. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, I was the biggest eavesdropper ever when I first started.
Yeah. What are they saying?
Yeah, you definitely learn a lot that way. And then, with your hours too, if you think, oh, I'm putting in 40 hours a week, but I'm not, getting what I want, I would challenge you to get a calendar out and just for 7 days, whenever you're doing anything real estate, right? Important real estate, then write it down. You're probably going to find at the end of the week, you really aren't probably putting in the hours that you want to, that you originally thought you were. And then that's a good place to start. Start putting a better schedule together.
Yeah. The other thing that I heard somebody on a podcast, like I said, we're podcast junkies, recently, is he was saying, people don't want to pick up the phone because they feel like they're bothering somebody. They have a fear of rejection. He was like, if I told you every single person you talked to was going to be happy to talk to you, was going to send you a referral, like you would pick up the phone all day long. Great. So a lot of it is just mentally realizing that's what's holding you back, is really you're just kind of scared. And just make yourself do it anyway. Realize you're reaching out because you're nice and you want to help them and you want to chat with them. They're not going to yell at you or be rude.
No, and I think too, the great thing with social media is you always know what's going on with someone, right? So if you are, if you're at that time block during the day where it's time to make phone calls, then you get on Facebook or Instagram and look at some of their most recent posts, right? If somebody was to look at my Facebook today, they would see that my daughter's getting married, here real soon, or
I see that.
Yeah.
I know all about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? So someone might pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Angie, it's it's so and so, and I noticed on Facebook, Cheyenne's getting married. I can't believe it. The last time I saw you, she was 10 years old, right? And how's everything going? Miss seeing you." And it's like, "Oh, we need to get together real soon." And how's things going? Are you still at Coca-Cola? No, I changed jobs. And then they're going to ask me, well, what are you doing? Which I hope they know what I'm doing. But if they don't, then that's my time to share about the real estate piece of it too, right? And say, I got this really cool thing I can do. And I'm going to set you up on Market Insight so you always know what's going on in your neighborhood, right? So there's always a way to bring up real estate organically so you don't feel like you're stuffing it down.
Yeah, like you're a salesman.
Exactly. It's not dial for dollars hour, right? Ready? Yeah. It's dial to build a relationship or dial to reconnect with people that already know you. If someone's number is in your phone, they know you and you know them somehow, even if it's the granite guy, right? Because everybody on my phone, the granite guy, the lawn guy, the electrician guy, right? You've connected at some point. So give them a call, give everybody a call. Start with the A's and work your way down. This is the most important piece of getting started in this business. And, and stay connected with people and stay in front of them, client events, we don't see enough of that, and I'm talking outside the COVID world, right?
Yeah.
But, you know,
you can still reach out to people and connect.
You can. There's all kinds of things that you can do. I mean, you know, that one thing that's becoming really popular is the wine hours, right? It's wine tasting, but you do it on Zoom.
Yep.
Right? So there's so many different things that you can do. And I'm going to tell you, like, even if you think, oh, well, I'm, you know, I'm running out of stuff to do or whatever, get online. I mean, it's crazy the information that you can find.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something you could do. You should never wake up in the world of real estate and say, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do today.
I know what to do today. Mm-hmm.
It's a non-existent feeling, right? You need to wake up every single day and you need to be able to look at your plan and look at your calendar and know exactly what you're doing that day. And I promise you, if you do those things, you will be successful in real estate.
You know, I've done so many of these videos, you know, and I mean, it's always about the basics, you know, about running your business like a business and building relationships. I just don't know if they can hear it enough, but I mean, it works. So, I mean, tell them your last year producing, how much business did you do?
I closed 52 transactions and 14.2 million in production.
So for anybody that is still going like, oh, well, that doesn't work or that doesn't work. I mean, in 5 years, went from 0 to 52 transactions in a year just by doing those things, by getting up, going to the office, connecting with people. I mean, it works. You just have to do it. And I just feel like they can't hear it enough, but I like when they can see somebody who, you know, has watched the walk.
Yeah.
Doesn't just talk the talk.
That's right. Just be consistent and, you know, don't let it get yourself down because, you know, believe me, I worked. Mm-hmm. And my first year in real estate was not where I wanted it to be, but I was not going to give up, right? I made a decision to do this. Real estate is a fantastic business. You meet so many amazing people. It's a fun job. It's a busy job, right?
Fun.
But, you know, when I got into real estate, it was funny because I thought, oh my gosh, I spent all of those years working for someone else, making a fraction of the money I'm making in this job. I never thought I would make the money that I made when I was selling real estate. It's just amazing. And then the friends I've made along the way, because, you know, they start as clients, but every single one of them ended up being a friend of mine. So, and that's where you're going to get your referrals. So it's going to happen, but you have to be consistent. You have to have a plan and you have to get up and go to work every day and you have to make relationships.
I agree. Well, I thank you for sharing with us today. And I mean, one thing I would also encourage people to do is go talk to your manager.
Yes,
like if you're struggling or something's not working, you're like, what am I not doing? What am I missing? Because, you know, you're not going to know it all when you first get in the business. And that's why you need a company with good support. You know,
that's right.
And coaches and managers, that's what their job is. They're there to help you. So
yeah, please go talk to your manager, your career coach, because I've even had people say, well, I didn't want, you know, you're so busy. I'm like, oh my gosh, the best part of my job is talking to the agents and helping you. The rest of the stuff is the stuff I don't like.
The headache stuff. Not us.
Yeah.
Not us. We're fun. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Jennifer, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.